something we hope you'll really like.
Creating for money.
The show that everyone's talking about.
Creating for money.
Because nobody's ever heard of that before. Nobody's ever said that before.
All right, what is going on, everyone? Hope you're doing awesome tonight. Welcome to another live show of Creating for Money. If you're joining me over here on Clubhouse, feel free to say hello in the chat and hang around too, because we're going to open this up a little bit later in the show to talk about the subject at hand, which is my podcast topic oversaturated? This is a question I get a lot, and from some discouraged podcasters who think that their podcast is oversaturated. So I'm going to share some of my thoughts about that. But before I do, I want to jump over just to say really quick, congratulations to one of the creators in my community, which is Katie Brinkley of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Just dropped her 100th episode. I believe it was on March 1st, so several days ago. But this is huge for some podcast creators, or for some content creators, podcasters. Typically don't make it past episode number 8. So they make it to 7 and they drop out. They call what's called pod fading in the industry. So congratulations, Katie. Just want to give her a little shout out. I think she's at an event, so she's probably not going to be watching or listening, but maybe if she hears the replay, throwing you some love, Katie, for making it to episode 100. Now, there's a couple different ways we can interact here on the live stream. I'm live streaming to Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, and then also over here on the Bullhorn platform. If you're on Clubhouse, you can click that link. You can see my face. We can interact that way. And then also we can chat over on there, or we can chat on Clubhouse as well. So really excited about this live episode tonight. I've been having a lot of fun going live more. And so I'm going to the format is going to be, I'm going to do a lot more live shows. I'm inviting some people, kind of open-ended co-hosting opportunities to come be a part of the platform. So I'm really excited about that. So now let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to my podcast page builder called Podpage. If you're a podcaster and you need a website and you need it quickly, go check out Podpage. They have a lifetime free plan, but then they also have a pro plan, which I use. But you can literally use your RSS feed and build your website in like 5 minutes or so. So if that's something you want to do, it's something you want to check out, head over to Podpage, or there's a link. Let's see. Actually, if you're over on Bullhorn, I made a link, so I'm going to drop the link right here. Let's see. I'm going to drop the link right here. You should see it coming up any second now, and you can go right to Podpage and check that out. And that is an affiliate link, so they're not a sponsor of the show, so to speak, but they are an affiliate. I do have an affiliate link with those guys. So I'll leave it up on Bullhorn. If you're over here on Clubhouse and you want to go click it, feel free to go do that as well. Really appreciate you guys doing that. All right, so now I made a couple little stingers. I'd love to know what you guys think about it, but here is, let me make sure I'm on the right thing. Here's the first one for our little news segment here.
Creating for money.
We only got something good to talk about.
That's news to me.
All right, so I'm kind of messing around with these like little radio stingers, and a guy here on Clubhouse named Wayne has been showing me how to do them and gave me a little app or whatever to do them on. So super excited about that. Probably going to get a little annoying, but anyway, this is like the news to me section of our show. And so a couple of interesting things happened this week. Instagram launched a new moderator option for live streams, so I think that's kind of cool. So if you have somebody that's helping you on your team or whatever, you can now, I guess if it's I looked on mine, I didn't see the option. Of course, maybe it's after I go live, I'm not sure. But you can add somebody else to help you moderate that live stream. Now, similar like right here, I don't have anybody co-hosting. I don't have anyone helping moderate, Clubhouse, Bullhorn, any of these places. So that would be kind of nice. So high five Instagram for launching that moderator option. And then now if they could just work on bringing external video in, that would be great. So if you guys could work on that. I know they're probably listening to me right now and running to their team and saying, hey, we better go do that. We better get it done. So that would be pretty dope. And then also to jump into a little bit of sponsorship news. So if you've listened to the show before, you watch this live stream, I'm huge on sponsorships, and I'm huge on getting small creators with a small audience sponsorship deals. It's one of my favorite things to help out with. And so this advertising survey company called Advertiser Perceptions did a little survey, and here's some of the stuff they reported back with is one, more than twice as many advertisers expect to increase their spending on podcast over broadcast radio, which is pretty cool. I mean, I have friends in broadcast radio. I enjoy them. I like broadcast radio, nothing against them, but it's kind of cool to see podcasting, coming up the ranks, making a little splash in the media industry. A couple other things from them. 53% of ad buyers surveyed that they expect to increase their podcast spending in 2022. They also say 54% of those ad buyers say they plan to spend more on streaming audio services this year as well. And they're starting to recognize us as the listening audiences rather, that they're growing. They know they're loyal, and they're going to start. And it says it's actually on par with TV. I don't know. Maybe that's true. I mean, it sounds like a big deal, but driving brand favorability is like right there with TV apparently. So 44% of those surveyed said that they are likely going to buy podcast ads in the next 6 months. If you're a podcaster, listen to me right now. Go figure out how to put together and present yourself to these sponsors to get this sponsorship money. They're saying, hey, we understand your audience is loyal. We understand the work that you're doing. Now, it's up to you. No one's going to call you and sponsor the show just because, okay? You're going to have to reach out to them. You're going to do that. And if you need help with that, shoot me an email, billy@creatingformoney.com. It's what I specialize in. It's what I've been doing for 100 episodes, over almost 100 episodes for my show. We've been sponsored since episode number 5. I think we drop 101 tomorrow or Tuesday. And I have had a lot of experience over the last couple of years. So if you're interested in that, feel free to shoot me an email, billy@creatingformoney.com. All right, now all that stuff is out of the way. Let's get into the main topic of this. Is your content topic oversaturated, or is your podcast topic oversaturated? And once again, I made another little stinger, and this is my 3-year-old Ollie who helped me out with this. Would love to know your thoughts.
You're listening to
Creating for money. Let's make that money.
All right, I'm really liking these little stingers because it gives me a chance to take a drink. I'm drinking some really nice hot tea out of my Larry the Lemon mug over here, which I've yet to do anything else with him on Instagram. But anyway, if you know, you know. If you don't, then too bad. All right, so is my content oversaturated? Is my topic oversaturated? And you might be asking yourself, do we really need another podcast about podcasting? Or do we need another YouTube channel about real estate and flipping stuff, or about dogs, or about NFTs? Like, do we really need more podcasts out there in the world? And I know some people I've been talking to, they get really discouraged when they think about creating content because they're like, man, there's so many blank podcasts out there. There's so many podcasts about podcasting. There's so many podcasts about dogs. There's so many podcasts about NFTs. There's so many podcasts about all the stuff I want to podcast about. And so I'm nervous to take the risk to go out there because I don't want to waste my time or my energy or any of that stuff. So if you've been there before as a content creator, or maybe you're stuck at that place, shoot me a chat. Let me know. Let me know what's up. Now, Nee says, sounds like young Billy. I don't know what that means, but I'll take it, Nee. Whatever Nee says goes. So appreciate you, Nee, being in the over here on Clubhouse. So we probably all struggle with this. Like, I know I struggle with it. Like, I'm a podcaster and I'm making content about making money with podcasts. I've done podcasts about podcasting and live streaming, and there's so many people doing it that I thought, what value do I have to bring? Like, do I have any value at all to bring? And now this is going to be a little bit of, a simplified kind of a cop-out answer that, if I'm in a hurry or if I'm asked up to a Clubhouse stage to say, hey, Billy, what do you think? Do you think this is oversaturated? I'll kind of go to this default answer of like, no, because the audience comes for the content and stays with the host. I mean, I heard that somewhere a long time ago. I kind of was like, I don't really know if that's true. And then it has been true. I see my audience showing up all the time in stuff that I'm doing just to support me. There's a lot of people on Clubhouse right now that are jumping in this room that are friends of mine that I've made in the podcasting space, in the live streaming space, that are just saying, hey man, I'm here to support you. I want to be a part of what you're doing. And we support each other and we do stuff. So they come back for me. Do they know the answer to some of these questions? Probably, but they're coming back because they're like, man, we like this guy. We want to hang out with them, whatever. And they know I like them, want to hang out with them. So just think about your personality. Your personality wins first. And then, after they come, you lure them into content, and then you find your tribe, you find your audience, that kind of thing. So you build an audience, or you find an audience, or you create content to attract the audience, and then you turn them into a community, and that goes to a whole nother level. Now, what are some pros about and if you're not watching me on Bullhorn, oversaturated content is one. If there's lots of content in the topic that you're talking about, so if you go on YouTube and you got lots of content about whatever the topic is, then no, there's probably a lot of people looking for that content. It's not that it's like, oh, well, everybody's just making the same content. It's people are making content that their audience wants to know. And a lot of times this will come through. I heard a YouTuber the other day say, oh yeah, like my audience reached out to me 1 million times about creating a video for the Mixcast, the Tascam Mixcast 4. He's like, I'm a Rodecaster guy. I own the Rodecaster. I have no use for the Mixcast. I wasn't interested in it. I was kind of irritated that they came out 3 years later and this is the best they have, which isn't really greater than the Rodecaster. And so he wasn't even going to do a review video, but his audience kept asking for it. Now there's a bunch of Tascam things out there, but his audience was asking him, and so he started creating that content. So if there's a lot of content in your topic, probably there's a lot of people looking for that content, and a lot of people are interested in it. So don't get discouraged if you go on to your podcast player, or if you go onto your your live stream host or YouTube or wherever, and there's a bunch of topics about what you're talking about. Be encouraged. There's people looking for it. So don't get discouraged that way. Now, my next thought on this, and this is coming from a content consumer side of it. So I'll use the Rodecaster. I'll keep on the Rodecaster. Sorry, my voice is a little bit off today. We were on a boat all day, so I think it's a little dried out or crackly or whatever. But when I was buying the Rodecaster Pro, I went and watched, I bet 25 or 30 videos about the Rodecaster. And it was from all different content creators. So as a content consumer, I value the opinion of more people than I do just the expertise of one person. So I would rather go listen to people from all different levels, not just the biggest YouTuber, not just the biggest podcaster, but I went and watched all these videos from different people of different levels that use the Rodecaster Pro to see what their pros and cons, what they like, what they didn't like. It's not likely, and maybe if I'm wrong, somebody can shoot me a chat over and tell me, hey, no, this is how I operate. But it's probably very unlikely that you find a podcast about podcasting hosted by one person and you just listen to that one episode or that one podcast and you don't listen to anyone else. I don't know anybody that does that. I listen to several podcasts about podcasting. I listen to several or watch several videos about technology, the Rodecaster, the Mixcast, all these products I'm using, microphones. And then I also create a lot of content about that kind of stuff. So as a consumer, I'm not just going to one source. I'm going in and I'm checking out a lot of different things, especially when I'm making an investment like this, like the Rodecaster. It's $500, $600 or whatever. I'm really going in there and consuming content. So you're not oversaturated. Your content isn't oversaturated. If people are looking for it, it's still valuable. And through that, you're going to find your people. You're going to find your tribe. All right. So now my next point here, and the reason why I don't believe content is oversaturated, is if there's lots of podcasts about something, then there's going to be lots of opportunities for you to be in that community of those style of podcasters or those style of content creators. So if there's a lot of podcasts about podcasting, then I have a lot of opportunities to go co-promote, go do episode swaps, go bring value from a different perspective than they're currently bringing to their audience. And I did this twice this week. I recorded episodes with hosts from different shows, and then I also interviewed them for my show. Now, if you looked at us on paper, you would say, why the heck are you doing that? They're your competition. and they're not my competition. All right. We're in the same industry. We're building value, and we understand the power of co-promoting. We understand the power of episode swapping, and we understand the power that some people are going to resonate better with me. Some people are going to resonate better with them. And we both have opportunities to grow our audiences and grow our communities. So think about it that way. It's not competition, in my opinion. You can either be a competitor or a collaborator. Either one. Like, pick your side, but I would rather collaborate with people than I would be competition. Now, some collaborations make more sense than others. I get it. But think about those podcasts. If you get in here and you're like, man, I'm going to create a podcast about cats, and there's a million of them, cool. That's great. Now you have a million other podcasts that you can go be a guest on and talk about cats, or dogs or horses or whatever you want to talk about. All right. So I'm not being really creative on show ideas. So hopefully you didn't come here for that. I should get a little stinger here, a little radio stinger that says, I'm drinking coffee or whatever. Or I'm taking a sip of tea. All right. So another thing here, another point why I do not think that, content is oversaturated. And this is really any content. I don't think any content, which I'm going to open it up to Clubhouse here in a minute, also over here on Bullhorn, if anybody wants to jump on and check it out, or to talk about this, I mean. But the couple other things here is there's lots of shows equals lots of content that you can be inspired by. And you can be, and I'm not saying like go rip off people or do whatever or rip off content, but go be inspired by other people's content. And if you're not doing this, then you're probably missing a huge opportunity to, take that, material or take that thought process and put your own spin on it, your own perspective. So the more shows, the more ideas, the more saturation, so to speak, the better opportunity I have as a creator to go in there, study these things, maybe discover some new things I want to teach my audience, and maybe do some agreement videos. Like, man, I heard this on Mark's podcast about podcasting. I really agree with it. You guys should go check it out. That's a collaboration. Or maybe I do the opposite and I create some opposing views. I create some opposing ideas. Like, I heard some guru tell me I got to go get 10,000 downloads an episode so I can charge a CPM rate to get a sponsor. If you know me, in my world, this is just not what I do. I do not go after CPM rates. I think they're a big ripoff for the creator who has a small audience, and that's who I help get paid sponsorship dollars. So I am always creating opposing content to majority, because majority of people say, oh, you got to build your audience, and go get a CPM rate. So there's a couple ideas for you. Get inspiration. Maybe you learn something, teach your audience. Maybe you disagree with something, create content. And that's what the world's about. Don't be afraid of pissing people off, because that's contrast. That's what people like. We watch movies for this reason, right? We love contrast. And so it's good to have that. Invite somebody on your show that you disagree with and say, hey, I heard you talk about XYZ and I don't agree with it. I want to talk to you about it. That is a great show. That is great content, in my opinion. I like it. I mean, keep it friendly. No virtual fist fighting or keyboard warriors. I don't really care for keyboard warriors. And by the way, I didn't say that joke just to hit that keyboard button. I just had it after I said the joke. All right. Anyway, I'm not that organized. Okay. And then the last thing, but not least, in any business, in any industry, the market is the market. All right. And I learned this a long time ago from a business guy who's very successful. And because I was complaining, I was saying, man, this market is so saturated with the people that do this. And it was what I was doing at that time. And he said, Billy, the market's the market. All right. It's good. It's bad. It's saturated. It's unsaturated. There's a lot of people in it. There's not a lot of people in it. It doesn't matter. But how are you going to show up? And how are you going to differentiate yourself from everybody else? Just like tonight, just like here, I'm on Clubhouse. I'm doing multi-streaming to Bullhorn, to Facebook, to YouTube, to Twitch. I'm doing all these sound effect radio stingers that I brought because I knew, I want to talk. I'm going to talk for a while, but I need some pattern to interrupt my show. So I'll do stuff like this.
Creating for money.
Because you and I are like a mullet. Sid is the business, so he's the front part of the haircut, and then I'm the party in the back.
I think they're hilarious.
So right there, Sid and I did an episode, last week, and I clipped that little part out, made a little radio stinger about it, and now I can use it, right? So I don't hear a lot of people doing that here on Clubhouse. I don't hear a lot of people doing that in their podcast. And I said, you know what the heck? I want to do it. I want to do it. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to throw mud on the wall. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see what works. I'm going to see what happens. So these are the reasons why I don't think that your content is oversaturated. I think you should plow ahead. You should be yourself. You should show up authentic. And if you're passionate about a topic and you go, man, I got this message about this topic and I want to bring it and I want to put it out there for the world to listen to, then in my opinion, you should take that conviction and run with it over the opinions of other people. And I don't care if some guru says, hey, you shouldn't start a podcast about real estate investing because there's so many podcasts about real estate investing. Now, you shouldn't start a podcast about real estate investing unless you know why you're starting that podcast and what you want the outcome to be. So that is kind of my thoughts about, is my content topic oversaturated? What does it look like? What does it sound like? All that kind of stuff. The short answer for me is no. And before I open up the stage here on Clubhouse, I do want to just jump over to some chats and make sure I'm not missing anybody. Let's see. Nee said the radio commercial thing that you played. Okay. We'll see. Kendrick said, yep, that's why I've rebranded and bounced back as YouTube Daily Show instead of a podcast. Kendrick, I want to connect with you. I don't know if you're in the audience still. Let me see. I'm navigating around here. Nope, but I'm going to definitely connect with Kendrick because I like the idea of a daily show. I think it's a ton of work, but I like the idea of it. Create podcasts for fish, and he says, absolutely. That's what I did. It worked out pretty well. Let's see. And then he says, I would fight you in keyboard war only if I can spell. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I can't spell. That's why I do stuff that's video and audio. So really appreciate it. And really appreciate everybody jumping in to live stream wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening from. Now, I do have some people over in the Clubhouse room, so I'm going to open up the stage. If anybody wants to come up and share your thoughts about, can topics and content be oversaturated? And if you have opposing views, I would love that even more because I'm always down to learn and to grow as a content creator. And maybe I am in a saturated market and I don't know why. All right, cool. Medal of Honor. Here we go. Tiffany's coming up. Thanks for breaking the... What's going on, Tiffany? How are you?
I'm doing good. So I can play either side if you want. I can be devil's advocate just because, or I can agree with you. I'm all good with either one. That is a question though that I have wondered about. If content is overdone. Now, fortunately for me, I have a unique audience and a unique topic, being the military veteran community. So there is uniqueness there. And I think with that, sometimes it can be difficult for me to know, am I hitting the right topics or not? Because there are topics that we can cover in the military community that's relatable to anybody, whether they've served in uniform or not. And then there's content that is specific to the veteran community. And so for me, after doing a podcast for a year now, I am diving into a topic that I know is relevant both in and outside of the military, and that is mental health, suicide, addictions, domestic violence. Those things are experienced both in and out of the military. Now, with it being that military veteran focus, yes, the people that I'm going to be having on are veterans who are sharing their stories about those particular topics. And one perfect example is, as I set up a recording for tomorrow, this individual has filled some pretty amazing positions while she was in the military. And when you just think about those particular positions that she has held within the military, she ended her career as one of the sentinels of the guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier. But when you look at a person like that, you're like, man, that person's a badass because she's done all of this. But what she's going to share is the aspect of her life that most people do not see, and that is the mental health struggles that she encountered while serving, and that she had also self-admitted to the psych ward because of her suicidal ideations. And that's what I love about doing the veteran community is it's so easy to judge a book by its cover and see that and say, no way, there's no way you struggle with this or struggle with that. So from that specific topic of mental health and suicide and addictions, I think that it doesn't matter how many people are putting that out there. I think it's definitely good, relevant stuff. But where I find myself struggling is just the general. There are other veterans who have their podcasts out there, but we all have such a diverse. And I sent this message to you. I don't know if you caught it yet, but we're going to be doing a round table similar to what you were talking about. There's going to be a round table discussion on an episode of mine. There are two people who do women in the military. There's somebody who does who's a veteran who does real estate, and then the veteran benefits that they can get when they're looking at purchasing a home. There's somebody else that just talks about the VA claims that are made after a person's service. For me, I'm just kind of an all-encompassing umbrella type thing. So
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. If it's worth that much.
Hey, love it. No, I appreciate you jumping up. Appreciate you sharing. And that's the thing. This is all about perspective. It's all about positioning. It's all about, who is it that you're talking to within your community, within your audience, and what are you talking about? And I think that you have a perfect niche. No matter if you touched on all those subjects within that niche, it's still the niche of military personnel and their stories and their life and what value they bring to others. So really, Tiffany, really appreciate you jumping into the show here and chatting with me. I'm going to gently move you to the audience and bring up my friend Nee. What's going on, Nee? How are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good, Mr. Billy. Good seeing you.
Yeah, man, you got that mic plugged in, sounding good, nice deep vocals. So what do you think, man? Can content be oversaturated?
I don't think it can be oversaturated, right? Reason why I'm saying that is, we all got our spin on certain topics, right? So the way you might present it might give another person that aha moment and that true understanding to that particular topic, right? So when me and my friends were doing the Runners podcast, right, we were three Christian runners, and we would take the word of God or certain things that we dealt with, right, and then put a spin on it to understand, and there's certain topics that we'll talk about, that deals with maybe, let's say, for instance, suicide and how we see it in our view also. So I do think it's not oversaturated, but then if you're copying from somebody else, like you already said, that is like a copyright strike if that is a thing in podcasting. But I don't think it is. It gives people a brighter knowledge than just from one person's point of view.
Yeah, man, I think so. Yeah, I think if you rip off somebody's content, now we get a problem. But if you're inspired, I'm inspired by people's content all the time, right? I jump into audio rooms here or on Clubhouse or I listen to stuff on Bullhorn or YouTube or wherever I'm consuming content, and I get inspired and go, oh, I have an opinion about that. I have a thought about that, or I have a different perspective or a different experience. So, yeah, man, I agree with you 100%. I'm I don't think anything is oversaturated, and it's not oversaturated with the creator, the person who's doing it. So, man, appreciate you jumping in, Nee, and chatting as well. And if anybody else in Clubhouse wants to jump up real quick, if not, I'm going to actually close the portion of.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
go
for
quick?
it. Go for it.
Can I
Nee.
say something real quick?
Yep.
It's we should just take it like the automobile industry, right? Just because Tesla made an electric car doesn't mean nobody else is supposed to make an electric car, just like what Tesla's done. But what twist did they bring into it, right? So I look at that also in podcasting, and
Okay, cool. Yeah, your mic muted there. I don't know if you did that on purpose or if it just cut off a little bit early. But yeah, man, I agree 100%. Be inspired. Go out there, do it your way. Get your experience, your perspective, and bring the people on that are in your space, that are in your world. So I really appreciate that. All right, cool. We got another person over here on Clubhouse. Miss M is going to jump up. Hey, Miss M, how are you doing?
I'm good. Hi, Billy. Thank you for bringing me up to the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here. So what's your thoughts here? Do you think content topics can be oversaturated or not? What's your thoughts?
And I just came in. I was listening, but I was back and forth cleaning.
Oh, gotcha.
When you said oversaturated, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah, gotcha. No worries. So basically, what I've been talking about, and I'm recording a podcast of Creating for Money live, so I'm multi-streaming to a lot of places. So I'm not going to go over all the points, but I was basically just saying, like, a lot of people come to me and say, I don't want to create a podcast or I don't want to create a YouTube channel because there's a lot of other people already doing it, already having conversations in my, in my field or in my topic. And then I just brought some of my thoughts of why I don't think that there really is a thing of oversaturation. So then I was just inviting people to come up and kind of share their thoughts about that. But yeah, no worries. If you don't have any thoughts about it, no worries at all. It's always great to see you over here on Clubhouse, and really appreciate you jumping up and saying hello.
yes, definitely. And we have to talk. We have to talk about the sponsorship because I'm very much interested in that.
All right.
Remember,
Yeah.
I was the one that made the appointment, but we had like a little mixed up with communication.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Just send me an email. I'll shoot you a little back chat with the email, and we'll get it on the schedule. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, awesome. All right, guys. So if anybody else in Clubhouse wants to jump up and let me know your thoughts, is it oversaturated? I see some great content creators, and I know John Wiley just jumped in, didn't have a chance to hear the whole thing, but is content oversaturated? Can content be oversaturated in certain topics? I don't believe so. And if anybody else wants to jump up and share their thoughts, feel free to do that. But I do have a back channel here in the chat. So David says, it's been encouraging to hear this. Had an idea for a travel podcast on hold for a few years because I thought it was too saturated, but this has been encouraging. David, this is me giving you permission, not that you need it. Create that travel podcast because there's nobody else like David that's going to bring it like David, that has the experience, the perspective, that you have. And I think it's gold. If you're encouraged and you want to do it, and it's going to, help you meet your goals or help you become more successful at whatever you define that as, then 100%, man, knock it out. And I look forward to it. Raphael, here we go. One of my favorite people on the app here says, I definitely believe it can be oversaturated. Wish I could jump up. I knew somebody was going to have an opposing thought, which I'm always excited about opposing thoughts, especially from a YouTuber, because I believe the YouTube is not saturated at all. It's still young in its game, and actually podcasting compared to YouTube is way smaller and way not oversaturated. So, Raphael, maybe next time, man. Maybe next time we can jump into it and have a little, not debate, because I'm not really debating. You know my thoughts, so I just like to hear yours. All right, guys. Well, that is it for the Creating for Money live stream. I'm going to stop the stream here, but I'm going to stay in Clubhouse. And if people want to, come up, hang out for a few minutes, I'm going to do that as well. And if you're not on Clubhouse, feel free to jump over and join the room. But really appreciate everybody jumping in. Sid, Meadows, and I are going to be back tomorrow. I believe tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be having another live stream show over here at Creating for Money to talk about how to help you create your own economy through your content and really be a part of this creator economy. So I really appreciate everyone jumping in. And that is it from me. I got a couple, I'm not going to play any more radio stingers, but maybe afterward. All right, that's it for me. We'll talk to you guys soon.